Welcome to the continuation of our Kanban University Fellow Program. I'm Todd Little, Chairman of Kanban University, and today I have the privilege of introducing Mahesh Singh. Mahesh, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hey Todd, good to be here, and thank you for taking the time to talk to me about this. Just a little bit of background about me. I've been now in the industry for nearly 30 years, I guess, and I've spanned my career between India and the US. I've been in the US for the last 27 years or so, or a little less than that in terms of career. My background has been in project management, product management, marketing, and consulting. If you want to consider all of those in the way that I've sort of evolved as a person and as someone who really brings to the table a sort of set of experiences that I usually find useful in terms of working, especially with our customers. It's a strange thing. So Digitay as a company has been around for now nearly 20 years, and I have probably run or managed almost every function other than finance and HR. So I have a really sort of varied background. But I would say that in the last 20 years, it's predominantly been product management, marketing, and consulting. And over the last more than 10 years, it has been a complete sort of transformation in the sense of adopting Kanban and therefore sort of moving to a lean, agile way of working, living, existing, interacting with the customers. So everything is sort of colored with that. And in that sense, I think the combination of product management and marketing, brings together a set of experiences which are interesting for people who are talking about Kanban and lean implementation and agile implementations. It's a useful set of skills to have. Other than work, I've been an entrepreneur for the last 23 years now, and as a co-founder of Digitay, and prior to that, a consulting company, and love to do a lot of other things besides work. A lot of it related to music. Also, love to spend time with my family, both here in the US, in the Bay Area where I live, as well as around the world, where we have a fair bit of family both in India as well as the US. And other than that, as I put on my profile on LinkedIn, I love to have a lot of different types of good food, and also love to try different teas. So I love to be in India and the UK and other places which are known for tea. Though it's always hard to find good tea. And then I love to drink reasonably good wine. Not too expensive, not too cheap.
No, it's excellent.
Hopefully that's not a long-winded answer.
No, thanks. That's great. So tell us a little bit how you were introduced to Kanban originally.
Yeah, so it was interesting. We, at Digitay as a company, we had started in 2002, and we were predominantly preoccupied with our India market, which was a very IT services and SI-driven industry market, which was very traditional in the way that they managed their projects, and very contract-driven, very fixed cost, fixed price model. And so we sort of missed the original agile journey, agile bus, so to speak, the Scrum and the evolution of the agile principles, early 2000s. And so around 2009, we were discussing how do we now sort of catch up. And one of my colleagues who worked with me in the product management team, he said, there is this new thing called Kanban. I think we should look at it. And so that's what we did. Around 2009, we started to study it a little. And by early 2010, we had decided that we would build a product to support specifically the Kanban method. And around the same time, middle of 2000 is when I met with David at a SEPG conference in I believe it was Savannah, Georgia. And I like to tell the story that I met with David in a very strange way. I heard him speak before I saw him, and it was a room overflowing with people, and there's a man speaking in an interesting accent, and I said, "Hey, why is this room so crowded? So let me also go look at." And there was David giving an overview of the Kanban method, and so that was my initial sort of real introduction to Kanban. We very quickly met him also at a conference, the same kind of conference in Europe, maybe in a couple of months after I met him, saw him first. And so that's when we talked specifically, said, hey, we should do something together because we're building a product on using Kanban. And so that is how we started. And once we built Swift Kanban, then we, of course, had to use it internally. And that started our journey with Kanban itself. So we really, started to use Kanban from that point onwards. So personally, my own introduction to Kanban was through my colleague. Then very quickly after that with David. We also attended, I and Ramesh, Dr. Ramesh Patel, our CTO. We both attended one of the earliest KCP classes that David was doing in LA. So all of that. So late 2010, early 2011, sort of was a concentrated input on Kanban.
No, that's great. Yeah, so you're involved early. Kanban University came around in 2011, so we're at our 10th year anniversary. And so we've seen a lot of evolution. What have you witnessed in particular over the past 10 years in evolution of Kanban and the Kanban community?
So I think, firstly, of course, I think the Kanban community has an amazing depth of knowledge, which I think comes with a combination of the Kanban method principles, but also the focus on some of the data that Kanban uses in order to drive decisions. And of course, Kanban by itself has evolved in terms of other frameworks like the fit for purpose framework and the KMM, Kanban maturity model, etc. I think the thing that continues to amaze me is that on the one hand, Kanban can be very simple, right? And in fact, the majority of our customers who implement Kanban and spend maybe a few years can be at the very simplest levels of Kanban, maybe the first 4 or 5 principles or practices, and still be really benefiting from Kanban because they would have moved from a very traditional environment, very waterfallish, very legacy, to very continuous delivery, continuous deployment type of an environment if they're a software or IT organization. And so therefore the benefits of becoming agile using Kanban and the whole sort of Kanban philosophy of being an alternate method to agility, enterprise agility, I think can be realized with some very simple adoption of Kanban principles without going too deep into the data and the analytics and the statistical side of things. So on the one hand, I think there are customers who have simply followed the basic capabilities of the Kanban method, the features of the Kanban method, and have done extremely well. On the other hand, of course, the depth of knowledge that exists in terms of the enterprise services planning, the risk management, the Kanban maturity model, and the overall adoption principles, which are, of course, now having a huge impact in the way customers think about the Kanban method. It shows the level of sophistication that the Kanban method has, which of course, I'm not an expert on other methods. I have a fair bit of understanding of some of the other popular frameworks that are there. I don't believe that they have that level of simplicity and yet deep sophistication that any organization that's trying to become fit for purpose or trying to become agile can benefit from. So I think both the simplicity on the one hand, as well as the depth and sophistication of the Kanban method are incredible in the way that it helps organizations in multiple ways to meet their business objectives and business goals.
Oh, that's great. That's great. And as we're talking about evolution over the past 10 years, Digite has been a long-term partner of Kanban University. And in fact, I understand that Swift Kanban, as you've described, is also 10 years old this year.
Yep.
How has Swift Kanban evolved over the years? Are there any things that have surprised you about the world here?
So I think Swift Kanban has evolved with the combination of use within the company. We use Swift Kanban for almost all functions of our company, and also, of course, based on the usage of our customers. And so, on the one hand, like I said, a lot of companies tend to remain at a fairly simple adoption of Kanban, but with enough of use of Kanban method principles that they need the capabilities that we provide in Swift Kanban. So Swift Kanban has grown. We have tried to grow with the sort of growth of the Kanban method, and we tried to stay true to all the principles and the core practices of the Kanban method on the one hand, and on the other hand, we tried to understand how customers use and adopt Kanban, and really try to provide them the support that they need in order to successfully adopt the Kanban method. So in terms of our growth of Swift Kanban, so it is the 10th year, and we are also hoping to do some celebrations around the 10th year anniversary of Swift Kanban. So what we have done is firstly really try to make the tool very flexible in the way that people want to model their workflows. And one of the things that we've seen is that it is not only the team level workflow, but also the cross team workflows that people want to be able to visualize and model. And that has helped us introduce features like the support for upstream Kanban, as well as what we call portfolio Kanban, which is the ability to build hierarchies and the ability to sort of reflect multi-level workflows and value streams that organizations have. So I think again, going back to the simplicity part of it, people think very easily about what their work hierarchies are and what their end-to-end flows are. Although they have trouble understanding the principles of value stream, and therefore they struggle with that a little bit. But in terms of understanding how their teams are organized and how the overall business works, they have a fairly clear picture of it in their minds over a period of experimenting with the Kanban boards. So I think the surprise has always been that while the Kanban method by itself helps at one level, the ability to map to organizational and work structures or work processes helps our customers tremendously as well. So both, I think, go sort of hand in hand in the way that our customers adopt Kanban. And I think in that we have been pretty successful to help them understand the benefits of the values of the Kanban method. And even today, even for some of our earliest customers, we continue to have new teams coming on board, and I do personally weekly calls with some of our key customers, and it is always amazing to hear them talk about how exciting they find the use of Kanban, the Kanban method, as well as Swift Kanban and how it supports them.
Oh, that's great. Let me give you one final question here for you, as you've been around here for in the community for so long. What do you value the most about the Kanban University community?
Again, kind of referring back to what I was saying earlier, the sort of sophistication and the depth of the Kanban method and the Kanban principles. I think the most amazing thing that I find is simply the depth and the diversity of thought that the Kanban community brings. And we have benefited from associating with a wide range of people who have been with the Kanban community for the longest time. Some may or may not be there still, but we continue to interact with them, and therefore the level of innovation, the sort of depth of thought process, the application of simple concepts to really sort of open up organizations' eyes and minds to how they can really do simple things, model simple workflows and track simple data in order to really get insights into the way that they work, and then be able to evolve based on identifying specific bottlenecks in their systems and trying to change things one thing at a time. The Kanban community's sort of open approach to sharing that knowledge and sharing their experiences, I think, has been invaluable for us. And we have benefited not only from sort of the core Kanban method principles, but also some of the surrounding concepts that have evolved and been sort of worked on in the last maybe 5-6 years. All of them have had an impact on us as a company as well as the product, and all of that is, I think, the openness of the Kanban community that really has helped us with.
Well, thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Congratulations again on being named a fellow, and great to see you.
Yes. Thank you so much, Todd. Very great talking to you, and good luck to the Kanban University and the Kanban community for the next 10 years.